And when Donald Trump was first elected, I was just like everybody else around me. I was just talking shit. I was saying that it was going to be a nuclear war. He was going to round up the blacks and the minorities, throw us all in a concentration camp. I said, I was just talking all type of ridiculousness. Matter of fact, when he won, I was in Cairo, Egypt at the time. And, I was on my laptop and I saw the news headline that said President-elect Donald Trump. And when I saw that, I flipped out. I just started running all around the mall, screaming and yelling. And so, after that, I started to really pay attention because I thought that, America was just going down the drain, right? So I started to really pay attention, to what was coming from, what was coming from Trump, right? And so, he did something. I can't remember specifically what it was, but he did something. And I said, you know what? This is actually good. I said, I could see how this could benefit, our nation, our country. I said, I actually think this is really good. And so I went to someone who I highly respected, someone who, I thought to be an intellectual, someone who I thought to be a rational thinking person. And, I basically pointed out, this what Donald Trump did. And this person, she just yelled at me relentlessly for hours straight, just because I pointed out something great that he did. And so when that happened, I said, you know what? I think that, I think a lot of people may be doing the same thing. I think a lot of people aren't actually paying attention to, the positive aspects of this presidency and what he's doing. I think that everybody's just so overly concerned with the negative aspects. And if you say the name Trump, they're having a panic attack, a whole meltdown. And so, I said, you know what? Let me go try and do some research on my own, because a lot of stuff just wasn't adding up to me, right? And one thing in particular, they kept trying and say that, he was a racist, but I can recall, the NAACP giving him a reward, multiple awards for for actually providing jobs in the black community. I can remember him sponsoring a lot of black athletes and black events. I mean, back in the day, he was our favorite guy. And, also, they tried to tie him to the KKK. But, and I'm from the South, and I've never known of the KKK to like Jewish people. Now, mind you, Trump's daughter is married to a Jew, and the same Jew is advising Trump. So I said, I've never seen a KKK member that would allow a Jew to advise him, let alone declare Jerusalem the capital of Israel. I said, this is one strange racist boy. So, I was born at night, but not last night. So, so I started to really think about all of this type of stuff. And so I started to do my little research, and I started to look into Trump's policies. And the first thing I said to myself, I said, you know what? I actually agree with the majority of these policies. I think he got some really, really great policies. I think that these policies can be really good for our country. And so beyond that, I started to really pay attention to Trump himself and, how he was conducting. For me, he's a businessman. I'm a businessman, and I saw him conducting business. And I said, you know what? This guy he's just moving through every single policy. All of his campaign promises, he's keeping it. I mean, this guy's literally, he said he's going to do that. Boom, he done it. He said he's going to do this. Boom, he done it. And we got to be honest. Barack Obama lied from the time he came in office to the time he left out. I mean, he barely took. He kept a few promises for a few people who looked like who paid him well. But Trump, Trump had no incentive. Nobody was paying him. He already has his own money. He came in this thing, just really ready to take care of business, really working for the American people. And that's what I started to see. And so I said, you know what? These guys are attacking him. Even when he was, about to meet with Kim Jong-un from North Korea, I said, wow, this is absolutely amazing. I was like, surely, no one can find something negative about that. And sure enough, they could find everything they possibly can. Oh, we don't think the meeting's going to go well. They could find everything they could say to try and disparage Trump, try and disparage anybody from even supporting Trump. And so, I did a lot of research. I started to look into the history of the Democratic Party. I started to look into the early history of the Republican Party. And I found out that there has been a huge, huge effort to hide the true history of the Democratic Party. And, I went even deeper. I started to study, the Soviet Union era and the propaganda that's attached to the Soviet Union era and how they were able to effectively, subvert people's minds. They use psychological subversion techniques in order to, and they do this through the media and through the education system in order to completely change people's trains of thought, in order to completely change your mind. And so I saw how this, I saw like the correlation with these type of tactics from the Marx. I studied the Marxist Lenin's philosophy, socialism, communism, where was socialism at in societies? How effective was it? Why did it not work? I studied capitalism. I studied the whole correlation. I could see direct correlations between a lot of the stuff that the Soviets with the propaganda and the Nazis were doing within the Democratic Party, which absolutely blew my mind. And so then and then another thing that really struck out to me was the destruction of the black family due to democratic liberal policies. Prior to the 1960s, less than 10% of black homes had a father in the home. And you look at modern day America now, post the